Good morning, everybody. Spiritual Whistleblower here with another video on narcissistic abuse. How are you guys doing? Excuse me, let me clear my throat. Quickly before I get into this video, I'm doing a Midwest tour, a narc abuse tour, support group tour, starting September 10th. I'll be in Denver, Minneapolis, Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, and Kansas City, Missouri. I'm trying to squeeze Toronto in. It's really iffy, you guys, because of the COVID and the borders opening and closing. I'll keep you posted. I'm trying to get to Toronto before they close the borders again. So just stay posted. So if you're interested in attending any of these support groups for next month, I started sending out emails yesterday. People are buying their tickets. So email me, ChanelJasmine@gmail.com. I've pinned my email down below, guys, in the comments section. Also, I'm available for phone coaching. Now's a good time before I get on the road the next 2 weeks. You guys book me. I do 15-minute, 30-minute, and 1-hour phone consults, okay? If you're dealing with a narcissist, email me and we'll set up your appointment. All right, let's go. This topic, I don't think I've seen anyone discuss this in this community. I could be wrong. I don't want to keep recycling subjects and topics. I want to talk about all types of different things because I've experienced it all. Both sides of my family are narcissistic. I've been cut them off many years ago. I don't deal with my family members whatsoever. So I try to pull from a lot of my experiences from the past and use it to help and teach. So today I want to talk about funerals. This is a good one. Your toxic narcissistic family and how they use funerals to gaslight, punish, and continue the abuse. All right. And I'm going to tell you from my experience what has worked for me. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you what worked for me and how I am able to keep my motherfucking peace. Now, when you come from a toxic narcissistic family, and I mean several family members are messy, toxic, two-faced, backstabbing, jealous, they gang stalk, they watch everything you do, they get mad when you don't want to be bothered with them, and then when they try to pull you back in, they're nice, they're nice because they want to pull you back in, but them being nice is temporary. That's that love bomb phase. Then they're going to switch up and they're going to start devaluing you. I tell people, if you cut your family off, you got to stay away from them. If you can move, pack your shit and relocate to another city and state, that's even fucking better, where they can't even get near you. All they basically can do is cyber stalk you. So what happens when someone in the family dies? Someone close. I just lost my grandfather back in, I think it was the end of November. It was right around Thanksgiving. My granddaddy passed away from complications of COVID. I did not attend his funeral. Would I have loved to? Absolutely. But I chose not to. And I'll explain why. This is my father's father. This is my father's side of his family. Now, 7 years prior to all this, my uncle passed away. This is my father's brother. Again, another member from my father's side of the family has passed away. My uncle was only 49 years old. He was young. I gave y'all a little backstory on my grandmother and how she destroyed all three of her sons. One of her sons being my father. She turned them all into misogynists. She turned them all into women abusers. There's a history of domestic violence, all of them, verbally abusive, physically abusive. They're all misogynists. And I'm not being funny or facetious, but that's the truth. Because they watched, my grandmother fist fight with their father. And they were raised in a violent household. It was a very clean house. They were well kept, well dressed, but they were toxic and dysfunctional as hell. And that behavior trickled down and it messed up all three of her sons, including my father. My father's the oldest. Then there's my uncle Charlie. My uncle Dion is the one that passed away. He's 49 years old. He was the baby. Nobody expected it. He died. He passed away in his sleep. So I went to this funeral. I hadn't, I was distanced from family at that point. I wasn't really dealing with them, but I had heard the news and I said, okay, my Uncle Dion used to love me. I was one of his favorite nieces, and I said, I got to go pay respects to my uncle. I get there, and I hadn't seen my mother. I brought my daughter with me. I hadn't seen my mother and my sister. It probably had been at least 5 years. I hadn't seen family in a while. Funerals always bring people together that you haven't seen in a long time. It was that type of situation. But I said, I'm going to go pay respect to my uncle. I get there, you go sign the book. And they had to wait because I did go view the body. They did a beautiful job on he looked like he was sleeping peacefully. He didn't even look dead to me. Very beautiful man. And so before this funeral, started, my grandmother hadn't gotten there yet. My mother was riding in the back of the limo with my grandmother. And I'm like, that's funny. Shouldn't it be my uncle's ex-wife and her son, my cousin? Why the fuck is my mother there? It was like the most weirdest, uncomfortable shit I ever seen. Why the fuck is my mother rolling in the back of the limo with my grandmother at my uncle's funeral? But his ex-wife and my cousin, it was like my mother got treated better than the ex-wife and my cousin. This shit is sick, y'all. I'm going to tell you. My grandmother is a malignant narcissist, and she bonds to my mother because my mother is also a fucking malignant narcissist. They're cut from the same cloth. More respect should have been given to my uncle's ex-wife and their son, my cousin. That's another subject. Anyway, I'm standing there. No one's seated yet, but I'm standing there watching people come in. My mother walks in. She's escorting my grandmother. I guess they're going to their seat. And I ain't seen my mother in 5 years. Now, y'all know what I told y'all about narcissists wearing dark sunglasses indoors. My mother walks in, you got it, with her dark ass sunglasses on. Take them sunglasses off. But see, what did I tell y'all? Narcissists wear sunglasses indoors because they're always in predator mode. And number two, they don't want you reading their eyes. I don't give a fuck who gets mad. I pissed off a lot of people when I mentioned the sunglasses. Okay? So a whole lot of people in this community that wear sunglasses in their thumbnails and in their fucking videos, and they wear sunshades indoors. Sunshades are outdoors. Period, point blank, for the beach, walking in the sun, bitch. Why are you wearing sunglasses indoors? My mother walks into the fucking church with her sunglasses on. No fucking respect. But I walk up to her. I said, hi, Mom. And I reached out to hug her. She didn't want to hug back. It was a very, hello, Chanel. And she kept walking. You ain't seen me or your grandbaby in 5 motherfucking years. And that's the response we get? Anyway, cool. We let it blow over. I got up and I said a few words about my uncle because he was like a community activist in the city of Trenton, New Jersey. And, he was highly respected by the police and the fire department, the mayor. He had a big funeral because a lot of politicians and, the whole police department, he had the police and fire department escort the hearse. He got a huge reception. So it was in the newspapers, on the front page of the newspaper. So they held him in high regard in the city, because he did a lot community wise. I said a few words. The mayor was even there at his funeral, and I could just look at my grandmother's face and my mother's face. Their face was twisted while I was speaking. Like they were looking at me like, how dare you? Who told you to get up and speak? And I said it. I said, at the podium, before I asked my cousin, his son, my uncle that passed, his son, I sat there and I passed him this letter. I said, I want to speak about your father. Do I have your permission? And he read the letter and he looked back at me. He said, yeah, go ahead. Out of respect, because I didn't want to so I got up there and I said, I feel like this city, because my uncle has done so much for this city, he deserves a street named after him. And they were going to do that, but my hateful ass grandmother, because this is narcissists are in a constant competition. When she saw that the councilwoman was willing to work with me to get that done, my grandmother said, no, I don't want it. No. Spiteful ass fucking bitch. But that's what narcissists do. They're in secret competition. They always got to have the motherfucking upper hand. Ain't nobody going to call no shots over my son. And no. She's been doing that to be spiteful, to throw her weight around. So she said, no, I don't want no street named after my son. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? He poured so much into the fucking city. Why wouldn't you allow them to honor him with the street? He deserves it. But you're hateful and you're fucking controlling. And not only that, y'all, because they were pissed that I got up there and spoke. My mother and grandmother were looking at me like, you fucking bitch. Who told you to get up? Who told you to... Well, this is a funeral. Anyway, we get to the cemetery to say our final, goodbyes, to my uncle, watch them, put the casket under. My mother would not look at me. She kept a very far distance, but she was trying to pull my daughter. Hi, you want to come spend the night with Grammy? How the fuck you going to talk to my child without going through me, bitch? That's my child. Give me my motherfucking respect as a grown woman and as her mother. You think I'm going to let my child just go off with you? What are you fucking doing? My mother stayed far away from me, but she kept trying to reel my daughter in. My daughter at the time was 13, young teenager, young girl. Hi, baby, you want to come spend the night with Grammy? Bitch, you got to ask me for fucking permission. But because she's so insecure, so threatening, she knows her pedophile husband has the hots for me. She'll never be able to look me face to face and come to me as a fucking woman. She'll never give me that respect. I grabbed my daughter and pulled my daughter close to me. My mother acted so stank and nasty at that goddamn funeral. Then afterwards, the repast where we went back to the church to go eat. My mother was so fucking insecure and intimidated. She stayed outside. She couldn't even come inside, sit the fuck down at the table and fellowship and eat with the rest of us. That's how fucking threatened she is of me. This is a family fucking, we're here in the name of family. We're fellowshipping. My uncle passed. Why don't you sit your fucking immature childish ass the fuck down and act like a mother? Act like you care about your children. But no, that bitch was in secret competition. The bitch didn't like that I looked beautiful. I stood up and I said a few words. I had confidence. They're not used to me having confidence. Y'all got to understand. They trained me in my teenage years to be silent, to be scared, to be fucking weak. They're not used to seeing a confident Chanel. They're not used to seeing Chanel speak up for herself and speak out to a crowd. How dare you, bitch? So my mother she stood outside. She was peeking in the church while we're sitting there eating. Everyone's fellowshipping and eating and getting along and taking photos. She would not come inside. That's how I had her. So to answer y'all question, stay the fuck away from funerals. I said I'm never doing another family funeral again. I'll just go straight to the cemetery in the future and I'll sit there quietly. I'll bring flowers and I'll make peace one-on-one in the presence of God. Funerals are a way for toxic family to gaslight, gossip, and disrespect you. The dead person is dead and gone. They don't give a fuck whether you come or not. It's all about the toxic family utilizing that funeral to attack and abuse you further. Don't go to funerals if you come from a narcissistic family. God bless y'all.